What's up, y'all? About to get started. You know, about to get started. About to get started.
What would happen if you pause on all the action? Quit the stress and need no caption. Give your Instagram vacation. Yeah, work on your patience.
What's up, Bree Bree? What's up, baby for life?
Yeah. Cause I love some music, but just to do it. So I took a little break on the west side. Now I'm waking up late on my best side. And it's okay for you. Take a day or two. Get your mind together. Sing it with me. Say, all to Jesus I surrender. All to thee I freely give. I will ever love and trust him in his presence.
What's up, Goddess Navi?
I surrender all. I surrender all, yeah, all to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. I'm in awe. Oh my God. You amazing, you're the bomb. And I just be setting the stage, so let me get out the way, cause you gon' listen.
What's up, Diva from the Netherlands? What's up?
I just be stuck in the days. And you tell me that it's not about the way I sing. Then you question me for why I'm even questioning. Cause I know it ain't the power or the might, but the spirit. That's always gonna know the truth.
Thank you, Goddess Navi. Thank you so much.
That's an interference that'll take it from a home game. They're trying to sell tickets, and if ain't nobody showing up, it's really what you're feeling, and your heart is in the wrong place. Who is it you're hearing? Say all to Jesus.
What's up, Mocha? That's funny.
His presence in live. I surrender all. I surrender all. Oh yeah, all to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all.
Thank you, Angel. Baby for life, you funny. What's up, King Tabernacle? Yeah, that was V Rose, man. Just a phenomenal artist. I mean, she can like rap and sing, like it's crazy. But phenomenal artist. She's a believer. Great kingdom music that you all will enjoy. I promise you. Let me go to these video files. Everybody having a blessed day today. We're about to get started. Now, I want to start out by saying, if you're not talking to God, then you are talking to Satan. If you're not talking to God, then you are talking to Satan. There's not any in between. So most people will say, I haven't been praying. If a person hasn't been praying, they haven't been talking to God, they've been talking to Satan. Because the world is always on. The world is always sending out information. So you're not just sitting there neutral, not talking to God and not talking to the world. If you're not talking to God, you're talking to the world. So when folks tell you, I haven't been praying, I've been sleeping on it, they've been talking to Satan. It's just that simple. It's not deep. It's not rocket science. Talking to somebody, you can tell whether they've been talking to God, whether they've been talking to Satan. And most people entertain Satan because most people are okay with bad behavior. I got that from my boy. Most people are okay with bad behavior. And the bad behavior is those little things you do that you say, oh, it's not that bad. It's not like I'm hurting anyone. It's not like I'm stealing or robbing. Those things add up to the big things. Being comfortable with bad behavior. If you're not talking to God, you're talking to Satan. Now, the irony, I posted a video today. Now, my account is back in restriction again. I mean, it's funny with my account because they don't even tell me if I did anything. They just penalize my account. They don't, and they do this because they don't want you to have a lawsuit. So they'll blame it on technical difficulties, but it's just communism. But so I know I'm back shadow banned again. And again, I get shadow banned for talking about Black culture, talking about manhood. And those are mainly the two things because they want men to be reckless and they want Black folks to be stupid. So it's just those are the two hot topics. And I don't care what you're talking about, any agenda or discussion, they always round it back to race because everybody has a race. We know that sin was indicated by a person's skin. So we know that the fact that we can see somebody's skin lets us know that we are in sin. That is the fall of man, the fact that we have skin. So the powers that be, i.e. Satan, is going to use skin color because that is the first indicator that we were in a fallen state. So it makes sense that they make everything about race is by design. So that means if it comes to climate change, it's about race. If it comes to the Peter pandemic, it's about race. If it comes to snake bites, it's about race. If it comes to politics, it's about race. Economics, about they make everything about race because race is the devil's distraction. The devil uses race because everybody has a skin color. So it's the easiest thing to divide us with, but also to what? Connect us with. Now, let's go to some of these videos. But remember again, if you're not talking to God, then you are talking to Satan. Let me see where I want to start. Where do I want to start? Where do I want to start? Where do I want to start? Oh, here we go. Let me start here. There we go. Sorry about that.
450 billion. From 1980 to 2009, Black churches in America. Now here's the thing. That means that this Black church gains $14 billion a year. $14 billion a year. Black churches. If this fact is true, it gets $1.1 billion a month and $250 million every Sunday. Listen to me. We are unemployed. We are the most, we're the least entrepreneurial people in the world. But Black churches in America, wait, 250 million a Sunday. And somebody explain to me how that one is real.
Now, of course, Black people will take the low-hanging fruit on this issue. But the issue is economics. The reason why Black people are suffering economically is because they spend money unrighteously. They don't spend money to build. They spend money to consume. If you look at the wealth gap is mirrored by the what? By the marriage gap. Black people don't get married. So imagine not getting married and you're also simultaneously a consumer. That is a recipe for economic disaster, which is what you see. It just said 14 point whatever billion dollars a year from the black church. So how are black communities impoverished? How is it possible? Because the pastor ain't making the money. The money's being given to the church from the people. So how are all these people giving all this money if black folks are so disenfranchised? I'll tell you, because black people consume. They don't use money to build. And that's because of black culture. Play it again.
450 billion from 1980 to 2009. Black churches in America. Now here's the thing. That means that this black church gains $14 billion a year. $14 billion a year. Black churches. If this fact is true, it gets $1.1 billion a month and $250 million every Sunday. Listen to me. We are unemployed. We are we're the least entrepreneurial people in the world. But black churches in America, wait, 250 million a Sunday.
Now, the irony of this is where black folks get cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance is not a mental disorder. Cognitive dissonance is you being decadent. What causes cognitive dissonance is Satan, because you see the truth, but you reject it. You're only rejecting the truth to appease Satan. You only reject the truth to please Satan. So again, what he's saying is all these complaints black folks have, there's no way on God's green earth the black churches could be making this much money. There's no way on God's green earth that black churches could be making this much money if black folks are so disenfranchised.
And somebody explain to me how that one is real.
Now, yes, I did see the Christian nightclub, and I'm glad you brought that up because I can jump on that real quick. But let me get on Jamal Bryant real quick. Now, what black people struggle with is context. And I talk about this often because I saw this back in 2020. Black people struggle with context because everything is about race. And because everything is about race, it's hard to see the nuance in everything. So they've told black people that everything is about race. What that does to the average black person is it makes them not critically think. So Jamal Bryant's about to give you a whole bunch of numbers, but he's not going to give you context. So the numbers sound daunting without context. No different than during the Peter pandemic, they were showing you how many people were dying, but not how many people were recovering, because the recovery part gives you context. If I just show you death, you're going to think that everybody's dying. But if I give you the folks that are recovering, you're going to say, wait a minute, it's a 99.8% recovery rate. It's a 99. Imagine people running out to get something to protect them from something that had a 99.8% recovery rate. The devil's in the details is an understatement. The devil in the details is an understatement. How in the world could something that had a 99.8% recovery rate trick people? I'll tell you, it's no context. And you don't see context when you're what? Lazy. When you're intellectually lazy, you won't see the context. So when it came to the Peter pandemic, to make black folks stop thinking, they just said, oh, the Peter pandemic is attacking black people the most. Black people are dying the most. The snake bites need to be equitable. The snake bite needs to go to people of color. Black people need to be first in line to get the snake bite because COVID is killing black people the most. The devil's going to make everything about race because everybody has a skin color. They told you you can't go see your loved ones, but you can go outside and protest with strangers. You can't go see Big Mama and Papa, but you can go outside with strangers and get sweaty and do everything, and you're safe. But you only went for that because of decadence. The Bible says study to show thyself approved. So you knowing what's going on is up to you. Knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowing where the ledge is. But it's your job to know. You shouldn't want to be out here and not know. Why would you want to be in the world and not know? But you don't want to know because you don't want the responsibility. That's why knowledge is character-based. My people perish for a lack of knowledge. My people perish because they have a lack of character. Why don't they have knowledge? They don't want to know because they don't want the responsibility of knowing. You know how many times I heard in my life somebody say, "Don't tell me"? Do you know how many times in my life where people say, "Don't tell me"? Because they don't want to know. They don't want the responsibility of the truth. The lies don't have responsibilities. The truth does. Because you know, once you hear it, you got to be accountable to it. That's why most folks rather hear the lie than the truth. On my screen on Instagram, you said make the background dark. Let me choose a different let me just take it off. Can you all see the comments on this background? I'll just take it off. I'll just take it off for now. What's up, JT? What's up, Kenya? What's up, Kaya? What's up, Angel Wings again? What's up, Miss Q? Let me get to Jamal Bryant, and I'm going to give you an example of how black people lack context. Now, lacking context in these last days equals damnation. It equals mark of the beast. It equals hellfire. It equals all the bad stuff. Because a person not having context is because the person doesn't want to know the truth. So we're going to listen to Jamal Bryant talk, and we're going to speak about this in context.
%80 of homeowners in America are white. Only 8% of black people live in a home. Y'all just missed what I just said. Only 8% of black people live in a home. Therefore, everybody else is paying rent, paying a mortgage. The homeowner gap exposes that the overwhelming majority of our community is paying rent or a lease. I need you to have this, in 1976, the average new homeowner was 25. In 2023, the average new homeowner is 44. Y'all not gonna like this. When Dr. King was killed in 1968, more black people were homeowners than today. Potential black millennial homeowners surveyed in 2020 and 2021. I need y'all to hear this. Change the font for those of y'all who are typing. In 2020 and 2021, black millennials acknowledge y'all are gonna get messed up over this. 2021 millennial homeowners, home buyers said that their greatest obstacle to home ownership, the greatest obstacle to home ownership for black millennials, hear this, was student loans. Y'all ain't saying nothing. So when the Supreme Court blocked the cancellation of student debt, they knew that it was going to open up for black home ownership. So let's keep Negroes renting. Y'all ain't saying nothing. So that they are not able to create generational wealth and leave a legacy for their family. The devil is a lie. God has got to do something.
Now, we're going to go back through this and we're going to dissect this piece by piece. And I'm going to show you, I always make this statement, I always say black people lie. And I say that statement not because black people are the only people that lie. I say that statement because people think when black folks are shouting and emotional and over the top and exaggerated, but they're telling the truth. Black people lie. I don't care if they're screaming. I don't care if they're crying. I don't care about none of that stuff. Black people lie. I've seen it my entire life. I've got lies told to me while somebody was shedding tears, when somebody was angry, when somebody was beating on their chest, when somebody was hitting the table, when somebody was somber, when somebody was loud. It didn't matter. Black people lie. Black people culturally lie. Black folks lie. Matter of fact, black folks lie so much that they called it telling stories. That's how much black folks was lying so much they said, we need another word because the line getting played out. We got to say, let's say we're telling stories. That's how much black folks was lying to where they started telling stories. I know when a black person is on their soapbox, beating their chest, hollering and screaming and foaming at the mouth and yelling or crying and slinging snot, they lying. My automatic assumption is anybody black showing all that emotion when they talking is lying. Because when you're telling the truth, you're actually quite reserved. You're actually quite calm. When you're telling the truth, you're not trying to convince nobody or nothing, you're telling the truth. Black folks lie. So get it to your head now. Everybody black on TV has lied to you. We're going to touch on Kamala Harris lying to you. We just saw Tavis Smiley lying to you. Jamie Foxx clone just came out lying. Even the clones are lying to you. Jamal Bryant lying to you. Obama lying to you. Everybody's lying to you. Every black person on TV lying to you. And then when the white folks tell you the truth, they say they're racist. Joy Reid lying to you. Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, all of them. Everybody black on TV is lying. Jill Scott lying. Let's go.
80% of homeowners in America are white.
First of all, there are 66% of Americans are homeowners. So that means that 34% of Americans don't own a home. So out of 350 million Americans, 34% of them don't own a home. So 66% of Americans own a home. So whatever number we're talking about, it's only dealing with 66% of the population. This is context. When I speak in context, it's going to diffuse all the emotion. Now, if I was here combating what he was saying, the room would get quiet. He had to say something like, devil is, he had to get the crowd riled up. The devil is a lie. He'd have to get the people all riled up. I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. He'd have to do that to get the folks all to not listen to me. If they listen, they're going to be done. So 66% of Americans own a home as of 2021. Now, 44% of Black Americans own a home. So that means that 56% of Black people don't own a home. 56%. 44% of Black people own a home. But you still got to factor in that out of all the Black people, how many are children? You still got to factor in the children. You still got to factor in ages 0 to 18 that won't be owning a home.
Only 8% of Black people live in a home.
Only 8% of Black people live in a home. And I just gave you the numbers that 44% of Black people own a home. And this is from www.nar.realtor.com. Now let's look up how many Black people ages 1 through 18. Let's just see. Ages. Let me see. Let me go back. So in 2019, 22% of Black people were under 18. So that leaves 78% of potential homeowners. That leaves 78%. Out of that 78%, there's 44% homeowners. That's 44% out of what they're saying is 42 million. I'm telling you, out of that 42 million, only 78% of them are homeowner eligible. You see, it's a lot more homeowners in the Black community that he's leading on. He's saying 8%. It's a lie. It's a lie. Let me see. What's 78% of 42 million? Well, you know, what's 44% of 42 million? Let me see. What is that? 18.4 million? We're going to get to the bottom of it. Because what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do what they don't do. Treat y'all like functioning adults. Yeah. So it's basically 18.4 million, let's say 18.5 million. So 18.5 million Black people own a home, and that's out of 78% of the 42 million. So out of 33 million black people in America, 18.5 million of them own a home. Now I rounded up for 33, so I'm gonna round up for the 18.5. So we're gonna say 19 out of 33 million. Let's see. So according to this number, 58% of black people own a home. 58% of black people own a home because 18.5 million black people own homes out of the 33 million black people that are homeowner eligible. So 58% of black people own a home, and I rounded up from 57.5. So 58% of black people own a home. What does that tell you? That tells you that the majority of black people own a home. 50% is half, 49% is less than half. Over half of black people own a home. The majority of black folks own a home. This is factual information. Jamal Bryant just told you 8%. I'm telling you 58%. The question is, who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Let's continue.
Y'all just missed what I just said. Only 8% of black people live in a home. Therefore,
He said it again. And the true number is 58% of black people own a home. 33 million black Americans are homeowner eligible. Out of that 33 million, 19 million of them own a home. That is 58%. I'm rounding up in 57.5, 58%. So my question is, why would Jamal Bryant lie to you all? Why would he lie? Now, anybody with common sense should know that 8% sounds ridiculous. Anybody with half a brain should say, wait a minute, 8%? But if it gives you the real number like I just did, you're not going to be emotional. So he has to lie to you to get you emotional because the devil deals with illusion. So the devil is going to give you the illusion and then let you act on the illusion to make it real. Why Satan is the father of lies. Not because he's lying. Satan is the father of lies because he gets you to lie. Now, Satan does something worse than lying. He doesn't tell the truth. He's deceptive. It's deception. I always give this example. I always say, Satan is not going to tell you that God isn't real. Satan is not going to tell you that God isn't real. Satan is going to ask you, does God really love you? Then he's going to ask you, do you really love God? This is called deception because he's making you question your relationship with God. Anyway, so Jamal Bryant just told a bold-faced lie. We're going to proceed forward. And it's supposed to be a man of God. We're going to proceed forward.
everybody else is paying rent, paying a mortgage. The homeowner gap exposes that the overwhelming majority of our community is paying rent or a lease.
That is a lie. I just gave you the numbers. 22% of black people are 18 and under. They don't even count. So we're only dealing with 78% of black people. Out of that 78%, 19 million of them own a home. So that 78% is 33 million. Out of that 33 million, 19 of them own a home. 58% of black people own a home. So he's lying to you, but the question is, why is he lying? Now, Satan ain't gonna get in that pulpit. Satan is not gonna say that black folks only own 8% of their home. Satan ain't gonna do that. Satan gonna get him to say it. Let's continue.
I need you to have this, in 1976. In 1976, the average new homeowner was 25. In 2023, the average new homeowner is 44. Y'all not gonna like this? When Dr. King was killed in 1968, more black people were homeowners than today.
He doesn't even realize that Dr. King and people like him is the reason black folks own less homes. Like he just understand that in the nuance and all of this, he just told you that prior to King, black folks own more homes. Progress in Black America stopped in 1970. I wonder why. But let's go to, and let's see, in 1968, how many black people owned a home? Now, here goes the funny part about all this. I could come up behind him talking, and give all the facts, and nobody would care. The irony of all of this is that people are going to suffer and die and go to hell for this very reason. I could come up behind Jamal Bryant and give all these stats, and they wouldn't even care because they want the lie, because the truth brings about the responsibility. God made this thing simple. You don't have to be the smartest, the brightest, the most intelligent, the strongest, the fastest, the tallest. You got to have character. So God made the playing field very even. God gave everybody a measure of faith. And then God said obedience is greater than sacrifice. If you obey, you ain't got to sacrifice. God made this thing very simple. What the world came and said was, you got to be this, and this to succeed. No, you don't. You got to be obedient. You got to have faith. You got to trust God. You got to stop being decadent. All the things that folks don't want to do. Let's see. Now, this is what's crazy, right? From 1940 to 1960, black home ownership went from 44% to 62%. From 1940 to 1960, black home ownership went from 44% to 62%. That's 18%. Well, 18%. So in the period, they're telling you they were redlining, segregation, Jim Crow, racism, all this was going on. And during that time period, 62% of black people owned a home. Now, they tell me redlining. If redlining was a real thing, we can all agree that it would be impossible to have a home ownership rate of 62%. Let's look up how many white people owned a home in 1960. Oh man, hold up, man. Hold up. In 1960, 65% of white Americans, and then this one says, and black Americans own homes, which is funny because the other thing says something totally different. Now, oh, my bad, y'all, my fault. Let me backtrack. So I went to HUD.gov.com, and it said that 62% of Americans own homes. My bad. Let me backtrack. 62% of Americans own homes. And in 1960, 38% of black Americans owned the homes. And in 2020, it says 47% of black Americans own homes. So that means it dropped. So in 1960, we'll just say 60, let's just say 40% of black people owned a home. Now it's 44% as of 2021. But the point is that he said more black folks owned a home back then, and it's not true according to these statistics. Less white people own homes back then. But my point is, in all of this is to say that he's lying. He told you that 8% of black people owned a home, and it's just not true. We know that it's 44%, and it was 47% in 2020, which would make sense because once Biden got in office, it will start to drop. And you saw it's dropped almost 3% since Biden's been in office. Black folks losing their home under Joe Biden. Not according to me, according to the numbers. Somebody said they didn't have Section 8 back then either. So no Section 8, and 40% of black folks own their home. 38.4% in 1960. And today is 44%. So again, in the height of I got the stats right here. I mean, the stats are staring me in the face. I went to .gov, HUD.gov, census.gov. These are all the numbers right here. These are all the numbers right here. Because it's going through the history of home ownership. But the time period when America was at its most racist was when black people own 40%, have 40% own home ownership out of the homeowners that were eligible to own a home. That means not including the children. So again, context is everything. And it's still more than 8%. So the question is, why is Jamal Bryant lying to you? Why is he telling a lie? Why would he lie about black home ownership? Because he wants to put into your mind that America is racist. He needs your emotions to be riled up. He can't do it with the truth. If I come on here and say that 58% of black folks own a home, you're not going to get riled up. If black people make up 8% of the homeowners in America, that would make sense because black folks make up 12% of the population. That makes sense. It's common sense. You think black folks are going to be 12% of the population, but make up 40% of the homeowners? That's crazy. It's ridiculous. This is why context matters. So to go over the numbers again, 33%, 33 million black Americans are eligible to own a home. Out of that 33%, 19 million own a home. In 1960, 38.4% of black people owned a home. These are the numbers. This is what it is. Let's continue.
Potential black millennial homeowners surveyed in 2020 and 2021. I need y'all to hear this. Change the font for those of y'all who are typing. In 2020 and 2021, black millennials acknowledge y'all are going to get messed up over this. 20 and 2021, millennial homeowners, home buyers said that their greatest obstacle to home ownership, the greatest obstacle to home ownership for black millennials, hear this, was student loans.
So imagine you basing all of this on what some black millennials are saying, as if a black millennial is credible. I wouldn't take any black millennial serious complaining about anything. He's basing this on what some black millennials say. Black millennials also say that a man can be a woman. Black millennials also say that men have abortions. Black millennials also say it's okay to twerk in church. Like black millennials will say so much stuff to where why is this so all of a sudden so credible? Black millennials say the craziest stuff, the most ridiculous stuff black millennials say. So why are they credible now? It doesn't make any sense. He's trying to prove a point. He wants black folks to believe that America is systemically racist. Student loans are racist. These folks want you to go to college and it not mean nothing. These folks don't value education. They don't value getting it off the muscle. They don't value building from the ground up. They don't value this stuff. These folks are communists. They want everybody doing the same thing on the same level. The dishwasher, the person that digs the ditch, or the person that does surgery, or the dentist, they all make the same amount of money. They all make the same amount of money. Now, this is the same guy that said Jesus was out of order 85% of his life. The same guy. And now he's back in front of the congregation again lying. So my question is, how is Jamal Bryant so credible? I'll tell you why. Because black people lie. So because black people lie, black people like liars. You look at anybody that black folks follow, they're liars. So black folks lie. They like liars. And the irony of that is the people that coined the phrase, the devil is a liar, was black folks.
Y'all ain't saying nothing. So when the Supreme Court blocked the cancellation of student debt, they knew that it was going to open up for black home ownership.
Now, this man wants you to believe that they denied student loan repayment as if the country is not in a gazillion-dollar debt. But he wants you to believe that them folks in the Supreme Court is thinking about some black millennials. He wants you to believe that black people are that important in the big scheme of things. Black people are only important because they can be used the easiest. They're the easiest to manipulate. That's why black folks they're the easiest pawns to move across the board. It's not a special thing. Black folks are the crash out people of the world. Whenever these folks want somebody to crash out, they get black folks. So you believe that the Supreme Court is making a decision based on black millennials. The same black millennials who believe that abortion is freedom.
So let's keep Negroes renting. Y'all ain't saying nothing. So that they are not able to create generational wealth and leave a legacy for their family. The devil is a lie. God has got to do something.
As a person who spent their whole life as an accountant, the number one loan overlooked for being in default for a home loan is student loan. Brando Smith says, what's crazy is college totally optional, not an entitlement. Student loans are your own doing. That's not the Supreme Court's function. They were right by rejecting it. We have a birthday today. I think that's Prudence. Happy birthday, Prudence. Happy birthday. I need to play my happy birthday song, but they're going to flag me. They flagged me last time. Let's go to another video. So we got the Black economics is what we're on. And I had another video. Let me get to Kamala. Okay, first of all, hold on. Let's get back to economics.
We do need more money, but we don't just need more money for vaccines for children.
That means you can get a loan with the defaulted student loan with hardly anybody. Yeah, I didn't think student loans got in the way of home ownership. I mean, when I got my first house, I had a loan. I mean, I still got the house. I mean, I haven't seen student loans be a factor in getting a home. I haven't. I haven't. Kelvin Thompson said, as a loan officer, only 0.5% of the total is used when considering monthly debt, whether deferred or default. Doesn't prevent you, though. So again, Jamal Bryant is basing something on a lie anyway. As people that are in either accounting or loan officers are saying. Somebody said, it didn't stop me from buying. Yeah, so again, why is he listening to black millennials? These are the same people that believe men can get pregnant. Why are we listening to them? Jamal Bryant just sat in the church and gave a felonious sermon, and nobody said a word. Nobody said a word. Nobody's going to challenge him. Nobody's going to call him a sellout, an agent of destruction, a member of the Boule. Nobody will say none of that stuff. They give me those names. But Jamal Bryant can lie in their face and they don't even care. The dude said it doesn't affect you getting the loan. It affects the amount of home you can afford. And I imagine that black millennials want the home they can't afford. I know when I got my first house, that's what I did. So I can imagine that's what they're doing too. You know. Let's get back to economics though real quick. Thank you, Kelvin. Thank you, Kurt Gray 76. Thank you, Soin for Night 74. But let's get back to economics.
We do need more money, but we don't just need more money for vaccines for children eventually. We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic. We have to think ahead. And that's not something the last outfit did very well. That's something we've been doing for fairly well.
So you heard Joe Biden that they need more money for the next Peter pandemic. So, you know, we can believe him or we can't believe him, but I would say we should believe him. You know, I would. But again, it's hard building wealth in the Black community when Black folks don't get married. So it's just difficult to do. It's almost impossible. That marriage gap is going to be reflecting in the wealth gap. It's hard building wealth by yourself. I don't know where Black folks got this from, this building wealth by yourself, but that's all make-believe in Hollywood. Most people build wealth with a family unit, not just on their own out here. So again, you can't get married at 30% and expect to leave generational wealth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Ashley said the money they needed went to Ukraine. Right. LeChat said that maybe millennials are looking at the debt in relation to being able to afford a house rather than the effect of the student loan debt on their credit. Listen, I don't know what they're looking at. I'm not listening to them though. They're the same folks that'll tell you men can have periods. I'm not listening to them. You are welcome, Prudence. Okay, let's continue. Here goes some more context.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I woke up to some disturbing news this morning with Florida saying that they are going to allow middle school teachers to teach students that African Americans benefited from slavery. That is so far from the truth. It's disrespectful, and we ain't going for it. Sanchez, you know me, bro. I met you in Jerusalem. I gave you a bottle of Start of my wines. And for this to happen on your watch here in Florida is disrespectful. Secondly, we never benefited from slavery. In fact, our history have been buried, basically, or covered up, right? And why I say that is because we have never been told who we are as a people.
Man, shut up. Omarion Stoudemire, shut up. When they had these mandates jumping off and these snake bites jumping off, you didn't say a word. Now you want to try to jump on a bandwagon that you know the media is going to support. I rebuke it. Shut up, Omarion Stoudemire. Shut up. I'm tired of these athletes who don't know anything, just as dumb, opening their mouth, talking, jumping on a liberal ideology, a communist bandwagon. Shut up. I gave you some Stoudemire wine. So what? He didn't drink it. Drinking that cheap wine. Stuff tastes like Cisco. He chucked that wine in the trash, Stoudemire. You didn't say nothing when they was mandating them snake bites. You didn't say nothing when Kamala Harris was on TV, Biden on TV, Obama on TV, and every other black celebrity or person of influence on TV telling black folks to get that shot. You didn't say a word. Now you want to talk. I rebuke it. Shut up. Shut up. Every athlete talking Ice Cube, shut up. Every black celebrity running their mouth now, they are cowards. They are cowards. Where was all this fight and buck 2 years ago? Where was all this bucking y'all doing now 2 years ago? When y'all was hiding. Omari Stoudemire, shut up. But they want that cheap wine you got, man. I'll give you some more wine. So what? You was in Jerusalem. I'll give you some wine. What you doing in Jerusalem anyway? Handing out wine. Ain't that illegal? They should have locked him up. Like old girl in Dubai. They should have locked Omari Stoudemire up for selling cheap wine. The irony of you being in Jerusalem and selling cheap wine. Let's continue.
First of all, where do we come from? We were called colored. We were called Negro. We were called African Americans. What does that mean? Who are we? Who are we? Where part of Africa are we from? Where'd you guys pick us up from? What's our DNA? Right? You never told us that, so you're hiding that for some reason. I'm sure you have that in your archives.
Like, this is my problem with all these athletes and entertainers. Where were you all at when they was mandating this snake bite? Where was y'all at? They wanted your children to get this stuff. Adults. They didn't tell you what was in it. They didn't tell you what it was. You go to the website, you can read all the side effects. They didn't tell you. And y'all stayed silent. All these people dropping like flies, and y'all stayed silent. Ice Cube, Omari Stoudemire, anybody else, Gio Scott, anybody else that want to talk, they all stayed silent when all that was going on. Now everybody wants to talk. Now everybody come from under them rocks and want to talk. Now everybody want to have a voice. They cowards. He want to talk about where black folks are now. Forget all that. That's a side topic. Where was you at during the mandates? Let's continue.
Secondly, anytime we have ever tried to benefit from, society, whether it's working, building our own communities, school systems, busing systems, and these things, there's always been a war in our community, whether it's Black Wall Street, whether it's Rosewood, and what have you in the early 1900s. And then later on, with the new Jim Crow laws, you guys now implemented the 3-strike law.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? They rebuilt Tulsa. Tulsa got rebuilt. We don't know what happened to Rosewood, but I assume it got rebuilt too. They only bring up Tulsa and Rosewood. If it was such a common thing, why y'all only name 2 things? Harlem was the first black middle class. If it's such an uncommon thing, then why y'all only name 2 things if it's so common for them to be waging war against the black community? These folks say the same talking points. He talking about all the names that black folks was called. African American, Negro, colored. That's what black folks wanted. Every name change that black folks got, black people asked for it. Black folks asked for the name change. Black folks said, we don't want to be called this, we want to be called this. Black folks said, we don't want to be Negro, we want to be colored. Or we don't want to be colored, we want to be black. Or we don't want to be black, we want to be African American. Or we don't want to be African American, we want to be black again. Afro American. These are black folks choosing these names. This ain't the system. Black folks could have been said, we want to be called this. Omari Stoudemire, shut up. Shut up.
Where it says in the Constitution that you abolish slavery except for criminal activity. And then you put
the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment. And listen, shut up and dribble. Shut up and dribble. When I first heard the statement, I thought it was racist. So I got to listen to LeBron, and I felt the same way. Shut up and dribble. Amari Stoudemire, shut up, dribble, and make box wine. The 14th Amendment, we're going to read it. Hold on. Let me get to the. It's the 14th Amendment. There's a part where it talks about you being a criminal and you going and you being treated like a slave. I don't know where it is. Hold on. I don't know where it is, but it's a thing in there where it talks about if you do criminal activity, you know, you could be, I guess, be put back in slavery. But the problem is that's not based on race, though. Like the funny thing is, black folks hear that, but it's not about race. It's about criminal activity. Don't do crime. Like I don't understand why black people are putting themselves in criminal positions. Like, don't do the crime. Jimmy said the 14th Amendment is for them, made us all slaves in their corporate system. Well, he ain't saying that. It's not what he's saying. He's saying if it's just for black people. So again, I'm going to just tell Amari Stoudemire to shut up. Oh, it's the 13th Amendment. Okay, the 13th. Because I was looking because it kept saying 14th Amendment granted citizenships to all persons born naturalized in the United States, including former enslaved people. Okay, the 13th Amendment. Okay, that must be 13th Amendment. Okay. Okay, so 13th Amendment, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist in the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. To me, that's fair, though. To me, it's fair that if you want to be a criminal, you lose your rights as a citizen. Like, that happens everywhere. That's normal. If you break the laws of the land, they're gonna make you like. Anyway, I don't see nothing wrong with it. Don't do the crime. Don't do the crime.
But then you put in the Jim Crow law where you now allow, someone.
Listen, man, these athletes and entertainers, they just stupid. That's all. They just dumb. They're just misinformed, lazy. They just jump on hot topics. Amari Stoudemire been quiet these last 3 years. He ain't said nothing. Now he want to talk. He's a coward. He's a fraud. He's a fraud, man. He is a fraud. I had one more video. Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. It was the Kamala Harris one. One of these. Let me see. I gotta skip past the music.
Beneficial.
Do you support reparations for black people?
Well, listen.
Just yesterday in the state of Florida, they decided middle school students will be taught that enslaved people benefited from slavery.
King Tabernacle brought up a great point. He said, how else do you pay your debt to society without being a slave? Yes, because you give up your rights to be a ward of the state. That's what you do. So it makes sense. Like, to me, if you violate the laws of the land, then how can you be punished? If I confine you somewhere, you already a slave. You can't leave. You got to do what I say. What's up, Neat? So again, great point by King Tabernacle. And when we talk about benefiting from slavery, can we be honest? When slavery ended, how many black slaves do you think were grown? Can I even find that number? How many slaves were grown how many slaves were there in 1860? Let me see. How many slaves were there in 1865? That's because I need to see how many were adults. How many slaves were there in 1865? Let me see. Okay, so in 1865, 4 million slaves got freed. Now, out of those 4 million, how many do you think were able-bodied adults of working age? Black slave population, I'm on the stats right here, 1790 to 1880. Just give me the stats. So in 1790, let me go to 1860. So in 1860, there were 3.9 million slaves, and let's just say 490,000 free slaves. That was in 1860. So how many of the 490,000 were freed during the time period of slavery, and how many of the 3.9 million were adults, able-bodied working adults? We can say that the majority of them were adults working. So when slavery ended, the majority of slaves were people that actually could work. Now, my question is to you all, did slaves have skills to work? And I'm asking this question because Black people always say, we built the country. So if you built the country, that means you had to have some kind of skills to build the country. So my question is it a benefit for you to be a skilled laborer when you are freed? That is a benefit to you. So imagine being from a plantation, you were a slave. You were able to work with lumber. You were able to build. You were able to take care of children. You were able to teach. Like, imagine the slave having multiple skill sets before they enter into a job market. So how is that not a benefit? How is not a benefit to be more skilled than most folks out there? Imagine being a handyman on a plantation where you got to fix the wagon, you got to be able to plow the field, you got to be able to do everything. So how is that not a benefit when it comes into the work in the workforce? Black folks love playing semantics, except when them folks said safe and effective. When they said safe and effective, Black folks just went with it and ran with it. When they said safe and effective, Black folks ran with it. They didn't read nothing. They didn't ask for any literature on it. They didn't ask for any test results. Black folks took safe and effective and ran with it. But now when the Florida is saying There was a benefit to you all being freed with superior job skills. Now all of a sudden, now the words matter. Semantics is an issue now. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Thank you, Kelvin. In a lot of cases, they worked where they were slaves at. Like, let's continue.
They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will not stand for it.
Now you see something. Now you see now. You done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
I
See what I'm saying?
I thought.
No, so, you know what I'm saying? That you done fucked up now, you know that, don't you? So let me get this right.
So by default, it affects black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans.
No.
Again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination and segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, black people have not.
What do you mean by that?
Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Look at this. Somebody come and look at this. Look at this.
I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, because whatever benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country, right?
So that was by Casually Conservative, that video. But this is for Jimmy V. Cricket in here. Let me tell you all something right now. How you speak means everything. The power of life and death is in the tongue. So if you walk around saying that you are a slave, you're going to get slave results. I'm not a slave. I don't care what the corporation says. I don't care what the system says. I'm not a slave. When you speak these things, you attract those things. So if you want slave-like results, then call yourself a slave. The Bible says that the power of life and death is in the tongue. So we got to choose our words wisely. Stop running around here giving up your power to a system you can't even see. You don't know who's pulling the strings. You don't know what's real and what's fake, but you're giving it all the power. No, I rebuke it. I'm not a slave, and you aren't a slave either. Nobody's a slave. You all got free will and a choice. When you tell folks they're a slave, what they do is they go line up and they get the shot. That's what happened. All them black folks lined up and they said, well, I'm already a slave. I can't do nothing about it anyway. No, that's a defeated attitude. That's a defeated attitude. If you have a choice, you are not a slave. When you wake up in the morning, you have a choice to do right or to do wrong. You are not a slave. You are only a slave when your choices are removed from you. There is no such thing as slavery. Everybody has a choice. So that means when Kunta Kinte was getting whipped, said, what's your name, boy? Kunta Kinte. What's your name, boy? He should have died right there. He should have died. He should have died as Kunta. Maybe if he had died right there, the folks would have revolted. But my point is, Kunta had a choice. You are only a slave if you don't have a choice. You got a choice. So we don't do that slave talk over here. Ain't nobody a slave. Ain't nobody in bondage. None of that. We are kings and queens. We are royalty in the kingdom, of course. I don't subscribe to slavery because you are a slave, you can't serve God. If you are a slave, you can't serve God. That's why them folks in China go to the mountains and the caves to go praise God because they're using their choice. So if you got a choice, you ain't a slave. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Start speaking life. I'm more than a conqueror. Start going to the Bible. Stop going to this man-made construct into this world. We all slaves to the corporate. Man, forget all that. The Bible says I'm more than a conqueror. If you had that slave mentality in your mind, when them tanks come down the street, you're going to fold. When they say go to that camp, you're going to go. Stop talking like you defeated. It's the problem with these men now. All the men weak. Stop. You ain't no slave, man. You got a choice. If you were a slave, then break the chains. Crazy. Thank you, Goddess Navi. Thank you. Thank you. We got to get power back in our voices, man. All this weak talk, slave, man, I'm not listening to none of that stuff, man. We are more than conquerors. I'm listening to God. I ain't listening to man. I ain't a slave to nothing. I ain't in bondage of nothing. And the answer is no. Man, we got to line up and get it, man. I mean, we might as well get it because, man, forget that. No. Speaking life, speaking power.
Take it again. Using magic.
What is this? The energy that you know of all your people that passed, they also live inside of you. The energy is inside of you. There's no such thing as time and space. It's just the here, and it's different dimensions. They just lost the physical body. You see what I'm saying? So when you pour to the ancestors or the netters and stuff, that's nothing but the energy that's inside of you. So you empower yourself. You see what I'm saying? You empower yourself. I guarantee you, get you some, next time you go on a trip, get you some rum and spit on the front of your car. Get some brown rum, that Jamaican rum, and spit on the front of your car. It doesn't matter, make some whatever kind of rum, you know, and spit on your car, you know, drink it, spit on the tires. You see what I'm saying? No cracker can stop you whatsoever. And then take some water and pour libation to the entities in the car. You won't have to worry about nothing. The cops got after us. We were speeding like hell. The cops got after us. And before you know it, something hit him and he just turned around. He didn't know what happened. One night we riding down the street with no back lights in South Carolina on the damn holiday. You know they dealt on a nigga with no lights. With one light back and one light out. No lights, you might have an excuse, but one light out. You see what I'm saying?
And black folks follow him. You hear what he just said? We'll play it again. I want y'all to listen to him.
Listen to the entities. See what I'm saying? You on the front of your car. For yourself. Saying you empower yourself. I guarantee you, get you some, next time you go on a trip, get you some rum and spit on the front of your car. Get some brown rum, that Jamaican rum, and spit on the front of your car. It doesn't matter, make some whatever kind of rum, you know, and spit on your car, you know, drink it, spit on the tires. You see what I'm saying? No cracker can stop you whatsoever. And then
this man just said, spit rum on the front of your car and on the tires, and no white person will be able to stop you. Spit rum on the front of your car and on your tires, and no white person will be able to stop you. Well, here was my question. Why would you limit your powers to dealing with white people? Like if you had the power to tap into the ancestors, to drink the Jamaican rum and spit and get power, like why would you limit that power to a traffic stop? Why not use that power to become a successful billionaire, a business, start a foundation, build a community? Like why would you take all that power from the ancestors and just use it for a traffic stop? Like even in his esoteric greatness, even if I dig through all the cholesterol, all the diabetes, all the clogged arteries, even if I dig through all the pork rinds and the bacon and the pork chops, I dig through the lemon pepper, all flats, fries, extra ranch, and a grape drink. Even if I dig through all of that, he's still focused on white people. At the core of his existence, it is to go against white. All them books he done read, all the spirits he done talked to, all the kundalinis he done messed with, all the linguini he done ate, all this that this man has done. And at the end of it all, he says, use it to avoid a ticket from a white cop. And you don't think these folks is lost? You don't think black people are lost? Let's continue.
Take some water and pour libation to the entities in the car.
Then he says, take some water and wet your car up. How many entities are in the car? If I got an SUV versus a sports car, is it more or less? If I'm in a Corvette, is that just me and one entity? If I'm in an SUV, is that me and 6 other entities? Like, I'm trying to understand how many entities are in the car. You got me pouring libations to the entities. But if the water is physical, how are the entities drinking in the spiritual? So now you ride around with a wet car smelling like rum. And then when the cop pulls you over, he gonna look. He said, why does car smell like rum? Then he gonna look at your seats and say, why is there water everywhere? Now you look suspicious. And black folks been following this guy, Bobby Hemmett, for years. Bobby Hemmett's up there with the greats. But the foundation of his existence is to go against white people. None of these black movements work because they're all rooted in the same thing. They're all rooted in these men feeling insecure about who they are. These men tremble in the sight of white people. And so they go through this whole process to puff themselves up so that they can go against white people with the forces of the ancestors, i.e., darkness. Let's continue.
You won't have to worry about nothing. The cops got after us. We were speeding like hell. The cops got after us. And before you know it.
Now he admits we were speeding like hell. Now he knows that speeding is wrong. So his goal isn't to do what's right. His goal is to not get punishment. This is black culture right here. The goal isn't to do what's right. Like, black folks aren't talking about white supremacy and privilege and all this stuff to do what's right. Black folks don't want the consequence.
Something hit him and he just us. And before we have to worry about nothing, the cops got after us. We were speeding like hell. The cops got after us. And before you know it, something hit him and he just turned around. He didn't know what happened.
He just turned around because he wasn't following y'all. He got a call to something important. Y'all in the car drinking, high, speeding, and you got paranoid. He wasn't even thinking about y'all. He turned around because he had more important matters. Y'all thought he was following y'all. I don't trust y'all. Y'all was in the car talking to the ancestors. Y'all was high as, come on. Y'all was high as a kite. Y'all sitting there pouring liquor to the ancestors. Y'all was high and crazy. There wasn't no cop following y'all.
One night we riding down the street with no back lights in South Carolina on the damn holiday. You know they dealt on a nigga with no lights. With one light back and one light out. No lights, you might have an excuse, but one light out. You see what I'm saying?
He didn't give you a story about how he astro projected and manifested into the pyramids and talked to King Tut. He didn't say he lined up his chakras and moved a mountain. He didn't say that he spoke to the cosmos and became one with the ether. He said we were speeding and getting followed by the police. His whole existence is he feels inferior to white people. Now, it ain't changed his diet. It ain't changed his behavior. It just makes him feel empowered that if he encounters white people, he'll be able to defeat them. It's funny that black folks got to do all this stuff, try to go against black people, white people, and white folks are just being white. You notice how white people are just being white, and they got black folks shook. Black folks are so shook that black folks are saying we want our own space. Black folks are so shook they say the white person is showing me microaggressions. That's how black people are terrified of white people. And this man said that with all the powers I got, I'm going to use them to not get a ticket. Let's continue.
Remember when Tupac said that the police are the biggest gang in America? Well, not only do statistics show that the police kill civilians at much higher rates than any other country, and not only did a report from the Salt Lake Tribune assert that police actually kill more than gang members do, but
now, who believes that the police kills more than gang members? Who believes that? Who believes that the police kills more than gang members when 40% of the homicides in the black community go unsolved? This man said Tupac was right. I'm not even going to play the video. This man said Tupac was right in the video. Tupac is the biggest psyop and fraud out there. A thespian, an actor. I'm not playing the video. I'm not even going to play it. I'm not even going to justify playing the video. I'm not going to do it.
Yesterday in the state of Florida, they decided middle school students will be taught that enslaved people benefited from slavery. They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will not stand for it.
Us? Who is us?
She doesn't even go here.
She's not even Black American. She's Indian and Jamaican. Okay, she has no black lineage in this country whatsoever. But go off, sis. However, I do, and I'm gonna say something right quick. I'm gonna say something because, for one, we all know slavery was bad, okay? Everyone can agree slavery was bad. It's not right.
We don't know slavery was bad. We don't know slavery was bad. We don't know. We don't know. So much has been removed, taken out, covered up. We don't know slavery was bad. There's only one group of people on the planet that can't get over slavery. Think about this now. There's only one group of people on the planet that can't get over slavery. So if slavery was really bad, if it was really bad, folk would not want to be reminded of it. Them other enslaved folks don't want to be reminded of slavery. They don't even talk about it. I know slavery wasn't that bad because black folks keep bringing it up. Go talk to an abused person, abused victim. They don't want to talk about it. Go talk to somebody that was abused. They don't want to talk about the abuse. Or somebody that had the R word done to them. They don't want to talk about it. Black folks want to talk about slavery every day. It couldn't have been that bad. Because you would have been traumatized by slavery. You would never want to visit that again. You would never want to revisit slavery again. And black folks like watching movies about. Black folks would sit in a movie theater, spend $50, popcorn, hot dogs, nachos, sit up there and watch somebody on the screen getting beat by a white person. Black folks sit there and watch it and love it. Slavery couldn't have been that bad because black folks wouldn't enjoy it. Black folks enjoy slavery movies. Black folks enjoy slavery TV shows. You can't, there ain't no Holocaust TV shows. It's been a couple of Holocaust movies. Ain't no Chinese slave movies. There ain't no other slave, ain't nobody using propaganda towards their trauma except black folks. So I'm inclined to believe that slavery wasn't that bad. Because for black folks to sit up in a movie theater and enjoy watching slavery means it couldn't have been that bad. For black folks to watch it on TV, for black folks to bring it up every day, for black folks to want holidays about it, black folks want their whole existence to be slavery. It couldn't have been that bad. It could not have been that bad. It's impossible. Talk to somebody that's been abused. You would never have a bunch of holidays for some folks that got the R word done to them. You would never have a bunch of movies about folks getting the R word done to them. Every day bringing it up. You got R word. You got it. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it with no other trauma. You wouldn't do it with the R word, the M word. They just said that trafficking was a conspiracy theory. So again, why are black folks the only group of people that enjoy watching slavery? It's because it wasn't that bad. If it was bad, you wouldn't even want to see it. You'd be offended by seeing it. People that have been R word don't watch movies about the R word. People that have been molested don't watch movies about being molested. They don't watch it. They don't enjoy it. They don't want to see it. They don't want to drum the trauma up. How are black folks seeking out stuff about slavery? Put it on TV. Black folks are aware of the slavery, watch the slavery, even eat the slavery in the form of chitlins, neck bones, hog maws, collard greens, fatback, fried chicken. Come on, y'all. Come on. Let's continue.
To enslave another person under any circumstances whatsoever for any reason. We all know that. But I'm going to shift the paradigm right quick, okay? I'm going to shift the paradigm because we've been brainwashed, okay? We've been brainwashed, and I don't think everybody realized how deeply this can affect people as a collective. Okay, slavery was bad, yes, but what does teaching people slavery was bad, you're oppressed, you're always at the bottom, these people are superior, you were a slave, you didn't help, you didn't benefit in any way, how does that help people at all by teaching that from that perspective only? Like when you constantly talk about only the negative side of things, people are automatically not even going to want to attempt to do better because it's been ingrained in their head that all the odds are against them. Yes, slavery is bad. Yes, all slave masters didn't treat all their slaves the same. Yes, some slave masters were black. What's wrong with teaching a balanced part of history? Okay, yes.
Because if they taught history balanced, nobody would be offended. So again, this is about context. If they gave you the true context of slavery, nobody would be offended. Nobody would be upset. You can't tell me that slavery was so bad and y'all want to revisit it every day. I don't believe it. They don't have any slave ships. They can't find no slave ships. I know somebody just went to a museum in Alabama and they showed me they had a whole thing. This was a slave ship. You know what they had there? It was a piece of wood. Not a sail, not an anchor, a rudder, a piece of wood this big. This is the ship. They ain't got no slave ships. Where are the slave ships? They don't have them. So y'all running around here listening to Hollywood, and you got to ask yourself, is it really real? Could it really be what they say if they got to remind me of it every day? If you got to remind me of something every day, that means it's not real. Let's continue.
Some slave masters didn't allow their slaves to read. But while some black people were slaves, they actually learned to be painters, carpenters, and all type of other stuff that they literally learned trades some people don't even know how to do today. Like I said, I'm gonna shift the paradigm right quick, and I don't care who get uncomfortable. Quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. Cause y'all gotta understand, y'all don't understand how constantly teaching a group of people that they're oppressed and they didn't benefit from anything. Have y'all not seen where that has gotten us as a people? Literally nowhere, bruh. It's time to shift the paradigm, okay? We've been brainwashed. No one is saying slavery is good, okay? No one is saying slavery is good and people should keep being enslaved, okay? Literally.
Well, I'm gonna say this. For black people to know so much about slavery and still line up and get that shot lets me know that slavery wasn't that bad. I'm sorry. I'm going to bring everything back to that shot. Black folks lined up to the tune of over 30 million to get that shot. And these are people that know what slavery is all about. So again, slavery couldn't have been that bad. The white slave master Joe Biden rounded everybody up from the field and said, listen here. There's an ailment sweeping across the land. And I need y'all to put this stuff in your body so you don't fall out and die on me. I need you to what? Now I need all y'all, men, women, and children, to let me put this stuff in your body. And if you don't do it, you're leaving my plantation. You go out there on your own. Makes your own way. And guess what black folks did? Black folks said yes, sir, and lined up and got it. So I don't believe that slavery was that bad because black folks love slavery. So I don't believe it was bad. I don't. And in fact, based on what I saw the last 3 years, it might have been quite entertaining and fun because black folks went back to it with no hesitation. Matter of fact, Joe Biden said, if you don't know who to vote for between me and Donald Trump, then you ain't black. And that the irony of that statement, getting black folks to vote. Master said we can't be black no more. We don't vote for him. And black folks lined up and broke the record. Black folks stuffed the ballots and broke the record for Joe Biden. And that one statement, if you don't know who to vote for between me and Donald Trump, you ain't black statement was more powerful than Make America Great Again. Because even the Make America Great Again slogan didn't make black folks do what they did for You Ain't Black. Black folks broke the record for You Ain't Black. So again, I don't think slavery was that bad because I watched black folks in real time choose it.
Nobody's saying that. As long as it's accurate and balanced, quite frankly, I don't see the problem with it. Okay? Like, why? Ask yourself, why do you want to constantly be reminded that you're oppressed and didn't benefit from anything? Like it seems like it's an addiction at this point. And me personally, I love a good rags to riches story. I love a good rags to riches story. You hear all these successful people talk about how they once was homeless, how they were struggling, how they was lonely, how they had no money in their bank account, and they talk about how that struggle made them. They talk about how that struggle made them a better person today. Okay? So why can't we look at slavery from that same perspective? Okay? Ask yourself why these people constantly want to bring you down and why they want to keep your mind dark. Okay? Ask yourself that.
That is misinformation. That is Amber. I'm sorry, starring Amber. She's on Instagram and YouTube, I think, but that's starring Amber. She had a great breakdown. I enjoyed it. I agree with her. So we're nearing that time to close. So I guess what I'm gonna say is this: is that slavery was a benefit. Black people claim to get their strength from their ancestors that were slaves. So if for nothing else, it is a psychological benefit for Black folks who have been slaves, because Black folks say that their ancestors give them the power today. They do it for them. So it's motivation. We can also agree that the slaves were skilled laborers. So they're skilled laborers. When they released into the workforce, they were priority. See, what they want you to believe is that Black folks weren't allowed to work when they got out of slavery. It's not true. Black folks been working the whole time. You're not gonna stop production because of somebody's skin color. You're not gonna do it. You want to make money. Nobody's that stupid. So Black folks did benefit from slavery, because without slavery, Black folks would have no history in America. They wouldn't. Think about it. If we wake up tomorrow and all history is erased, what Black folks gonna do? If everybody starts with no history tomorrow, what are Black folks gonna do? With no slavery to lean on, no Negro spirituals, no oppression there, none of that. What they gonna do? What they gonna do? Yes, slavery did benefit the slaves because they were able to work skilled labor jobs. Of course. Just go look at what was created right after slavery. They told y'all the slaves couldn't read, but 2 years after slavery ended, they built Howard University. They told you all the slaves couldn't read, but 2 years after slavery, they built Howard University. So what will possess a group of people that were illiterate to build a college? Now, if white folks were so racist, they wouldn't have allowed these colleges to be built. But Black folks was building a record number of colleges after slavery. So that means that white folks wasn't too upset at Black folks learning. How about this? Black folks could read during slavery. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. You think Black folks couldn't read? Stop. They could read. Do y'all think that if I got some slaves, indentured servants, and I have children, I'm not going to teach the slave to teach the children so I can go out there and make some money? You think them slaves wasn't tutoring them children? Reading them bedtime stories? I want Uncle Jim to read me a story, Mama. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. We gotta use common sense. We gotta use common sense. We gotta use common sense. I'll be the bad guy. Slaves could read. You can't go from being illiterate to building a college. I'm sorry. You can't go from being illiterate to building a college. You gotta. Howard University was founded in 1867, in March of 1867. Two years after slavery ended, Black folks was going to colleges that they built. 2 years after slavery ended, Black folks were going to colleges that they built. What they told you about slavery has to be a lie. It don't make sense. Black folks can't do it now. Black folks got all the education, got Google, got everything going on. They can't do it now. Umar Johnson can't build a school now. Black folks did it right out of slavery. They was building colleges. Umar Johnson can't build a school now. And he has a doctorate. And he has money. And he has support, and he can't do it. So how in the world could these black folks do it right after slavery with all this racism, with all this hate, with all this oppression, and Umar Johnson can't do it? Somebody's lying, that's why. Somebody's telling a lie. Who's lying? Is it Umar or the slaves? Listen, I love you all. I'm going to come back and talk about this context thing probably on Monday. It'll be on Monday. Tomorrow we'll be doing Cutting Through the Culture at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in today. I appreciate you all for giving me your time. And I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow on the show. I want y'all to have a blessed day. Prudent, happy birthday to Prudent. I don't know if she's still on here, but happy birthday to her. Yeah. So listen, I love y'all. I want y'all to be blessed, and I will see y'all soon. Thank y'all again. Thank you, Angel, for hosting. Thank you, Goddess Navi. And I will see y'all soon tomorrow evening. I love y'all. Thank y'all.